Hello, welcome back everyone. So here's our second installment where I am discussing the planetary influences based on the sidereal placement of our sun signs for the coming months. So last month I did an episode where I was discussing the influence of Gemini and Mercury, but in the sidereal placements, and what I mean by the sidereal placements is the date that Gemini moved into its sun sign sidereally. So that would be from June 14th to July 14th. So almost a week ago, we ended the sun sign placement, the sidereal sign placement of Gemini from June 14th to July 14th, and then from July 15th to more or less, I think it's August. Yeah, August 15th, we will be in the sign of Cancer. So we are just a week into the sidereal sign placement of Cancer. Now, with Western astrology, we are still in Cancer, but we're at the tail end of that in Western astrology. Western astrology acknowledges its Cancer placement from June 20th to July 21st. Okay, so by the time I place this episode and it goes online, we're going to be in Western astrology Leo, but we are still in the early part of Cancer. So the reason why I don't want to talk so much about the sidereal placements, I want to focus more on the planetary energies of the ruling planets for each of these signs, because I feel they're very important, they're very prominent. It's something that I'm paying more attention to as I break down the anatomy of astrology when it comes to the signs, when it comes to the houses, and also where, of course, it comes to its planetary influence. So again, I may repeat things over again in case someone comes in and they don't want to go to the beginning. So this episode and all my episodes from the one that I did with Gemini, sidereal Gemini, all the way to when we get to Aries. Oh, actually, no, when we get to Taurus for next year, we're going to talk about the planetary influences. But again, this is all from the sidereal perspective. So I'll state the dates so that you know which ones are for the sidereal and which one is for Western astrology. But again, this point of view will be coming from the sidereal. Once again, sidereal astrology is based on the placement of the signs where they are in the constellations real time. Western astrology is a fixed system. It's based around the equinox and solstices. So that's why we have the signs that are pretty much the same. We have our spring signs, we have our summer signs, we have our fall, winter, and it starts over again, okay? Sidereal doesn't focus attention on the seasons. They're focusing where the actuality of the sun is at the moment that you were born, at the moment that a particular event took place that was life-changing for the world or for you in particular. And so the accuracy of the sign placements in lieu of the constellations is something that I've been exploring for almost a year, and I'm seeing some really powerful correlations with the signs and where they are in the constellations. But also, not to negate Western astrology, there are some aspects of that I feel is very important with astrology. So, but to make things easier and just for me to stay on track and on focus, everything here is going to be sidereal. If you want to look into the Western astrology influences of these signs, I do have some episodes where I do discuss about planetary placements, sign influences with the planets in my archive. So just kind of look into tarot astrology and you'll see will see a different perspective of the moon, and not the moon, of the planets and the signs, but from a Western perspective. Okay, so I just want to start moving into this because there is a lot to discuss, and I do want to keep it very itsimple. This deck, and it will be the deck I will be working with throughout the series. This is the Tabula Mundi by Meleen. It'll be put in the description. She just had a successful Kickstarter campaign that is not quite the follow-up, but it's taking this deck that she's going to be producing. It should be released in the next couple of months during the fall. Is actually an astrological decan deck based on the tarot, like the major and minor arcana, but all through the journey of the decans. Okay, and that's something very, very interesting because it hasn't been done before, and it may seem challenging for people, but she does understand the journey of the decans, and she being Meleen, she is very deep in her practice and seeing things that maybe we don't normally see in the tarot. So this deck I got around late spring, and it's a deck that I'm going to be studying with for probably a good chunk of this year. I haven't read, except for myself, maybe a few cards, but I haven't done a full spread or full reading with this deck publicly, like for other people, because I want to really feel comfortable and journey through all these cards. So this is leading us to our decan, our Cancer decans. Cancer 1, 2, and 3. Our 2 of Cups here represents Cancer 1. 3 of Cups represents Cancer 2. And our 4 of Cups represents Cancer 3. Now there's a reason why I did it like this instead of having the 4 here. There's a relationship with the court cards that not too much emphasis is put on when it comes to the decans. And so this is what I'm putting here with these cards. I'm going to briefly go through this, break down these cards here, their meanings and their visual interpretations, and also an epiphany that I had, especially as we entered the sidereal sign of Cancer, and its watery energy. But I had a big wow moment a few days ago, specifically with this card, the Chariot. All right, so I will go through the decans, but again, I want to talk about the planetary influences of these cards. And let's go right into breaking down the Chariot and sharing this experience that I had. I'll try not to go long, it's going to be hard. I'm going to take a sip of water here. Okay, so the Chariot in the tarot. Sun sign ruled by Cancer. And here we have our Cancer symbol. Now, we see different interpretations of the Chariot, but one thing that is common is, one of two things that's common is we do see opposing energies taking place. We usually see the Sphinx, lion, cats, dogs, black, white, depending on which deck you're working with. When reading this card and reading Meleen's vision of this card, some things just opened up for me that I never saw before, and she does discuss it in her guidebook. So we have the horses. The horses are of strength. They are of a victorious nature, a level of success. Here we have our charioteer, who is a surfer on his board, and I like how he's holding the cup there. The cup is the guide. Water energy, intuition, our emotions, we're riding this wave, and we're taking everything that's happening around us while we're on this force of water and literally having this be the gauge for the charioteer. Which direction is the board going to be leaning more towards or back? Is this charioteer going to wipe out? This is all by the guidance of these two horses. The white for purity, for seeing things very clearly, and then we have the opposite energy of the darker horse, the gray horse or black horse, which is our shadow side. We're balancing both of these energies. Okay, so imagine balancing this while you're riding a wave. We've got the cup there. But also, if you look closely, we see the crescent moons as their bit. You know, we see the horses when they're in show or when they're riding. They usually have a bit, I believe that's how it's pronounced, to control the horses. But we have the crescent moon. One thing I want to touch upon with this, and this is where the epiphany for me comes in, is we can see this as an interpretation, these two horses, as being the seahorse. Okay, the seahorse is the horse that actually can give birth. And it's a beautiful but also tragic story of the seahorses, how their lives can end very quickly after they've given birth. And the thing that's fascinating here with these two horses, we can literally say that they are sea horses. They're horses that are in the water. Is that we don't see it here, but Cancer's opposing sign is Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn is a sea goat, or I could say, relating to this card, a sea horse. Okay, so the bottom part is connected to the water. It's a dolphin fin. It's a fish body. But what I like here with Meleen's interpretation is that we're seeing the body, we're seeing the upper part, the masculine, the consciousness, the awareness of what's going on outside the waters. They are moving with the current as to what's going on. Okay, again, everything's intuitive. We're going with the flow. Now, the other thing, one of many other things I want to point out is Meleen makes mention about the hippocampus and the hippocampi. HIPPO CAMPI, campi. Okay, these are mythological creatures, again relating to the seahorse. But she brings up something that I found very fascinating, is that we have located in our brain the hippocampus, and this is a organ that there's two sections in the brain. I'm reading this right now from the book, and it's the this is the hippocampus. The hippocampi is what we have in the brain. We have two of them. There's one on each side. One side of the hippocampi, remember there's two, takes care of memory. And the other side of the hippocampi deals with navigation. So it deals with how we recall things, and it could be this influence of the emotional side of how we remember things, but also the navigation. Okay, I love how this is interpreted with the Chariot card. How our feelings, how emotional memory can guide us through things. You know, we can think of something that is just so potent and so powerful. It could be something from our past, and it's led us to where we are right now. You know, this is someone who is connected to their feelings. They're very intuitive, and that's how they lead their life. And this is pretty much an example of Cancer. And also when you see the crab, or any of these shell creatures that we see walking on the beach, or we see in the water, but particularly the crab, they don't walk a straight line, right? They, to get to some place, they kind of walk sideways, you know, they may go up. They have a very awkward approach to getting to a certain place. And they do it in their own way because they're doing everything based on feel. That's how they navigate, that's how they move. So the hippocampi, the two sections in our brains, memory and navigation, is pretty similar to this, this card when you put those words together. And also here, I'm going to show this really quickly, in our Two of Cups, look how we've had these seahorses. But now they're coming together, they're merging, and their energy is forming something much greater. Their navigation, their instincts have led them to come together and create something that is more of joy and happiness. So, but going back here, okay, again, this is the navigator, the charioteer. Okay, we're going by what we know, what we felt in the past, and we're trusting our instincts here. Okay, so my connection with the chariot card is about a month ago I started swimming. I started going back to swimming, and I'm going back to the basics of swimming. And in the last week or so, it's opened up a lot of things, because there's a lot to learn with swimming. You have endurance, but you also have breath work. And the breath work is pretty much the basis of how you're going to swim properly. And the way you breathe is also going to affect your body and how you maintain leverage. Now, because of the challenge that there is of breathing in water, some fears, some trying to understand how I can breathe properly, and maybe, you know, seeing what's holding me back, you know, why I feel like I'm gonna, at times feel like I'm gonna suffocate when I'm going in between breaths. So this makes reference to the hippocampi, the memory and navigation. It's very similar when it comes to swimming, okay? And it also stimulates this. There's a video that I came across just a few days ago where the person, after I had these cards set up and I was reading about the hippocampus, the mythological creatures in the hippocampi, he used that word, the hippocampi, the two sections of our brains actually get stimulated. They create, it influences the creation of new brain cells when you're swimming. And so swimming is a form of brain health. And one thing that did come up is that your memory gets better, your recollection for things becomes stronger. And so it was just very interesting to listen to this guy who is a swimming professional talk about this, how the mind is shape-shifted and becomes healthier when you do a swim practice. And so I just had the biggest smile on my face that you can imagine when I heard him say this. So I'm relating all of this energy to Cancer. Okay, water, intuition, emotions, feelings, things will come up from the past, fears. Water is almost a form of self-revealing when you're in it. When you're in the water, you have to save yourself. You got to swim. Are you going to sink or swim? So a lot of stuff comes up. So this was quite wonderful to read Meleen's take on the chariot, and also this gentleman's discussion about the hippocampi and the hippocampus, which is our seahorses here. All right, I went on longer, but I had to share this because it was very important. Our moon. Okay, now this has a symbol of Pisces, which is the element or the planet that also rules Pisces. But I want you to look at this card, okay? The moon, the moon really pays attention to our subconscious, okay? So we have these emotions, we have all these feelings that's happening at a deeper level, okay, with the chariot, with the water. But the moon, for those of you who have moon in Cancer and moon in Pisces in particular, when the moon, whether it's your birth placement or the moon is actually in Cancer or Pisces at the time, things that are deep start moving. Things that are hidden start creeping up. And it can be irritating. It can be emotionally like, oh, wow, I thought I got over this kind of thing, but there's still work that needs to be done. Okay, the moon is the second luminary. We have the sun, the moon, and then Mercury. That is closest to us. The moon affects our cycles for women. It affects, of course, the ebb and flow of the tides. Okay, moon is very powerful. It is revealing, and it can also conceal as well. So we need to pay attention whenever the moon, I feel more so, is in these two water signs of Cancer and in Pisces, because it is something that is things that we need to contend with at a deeper level. We have the back of the head here, like phrenology, the different sections of the brain. The moth for transformation. We have some planets here that looks like Neptune at the lower part of the palm. And the scarab, the beetle, which is also associated with Cancer and Egyptian mythology and astrology, the scarab, the dung beetle. And we see here, here's the beetle holding up the sun, the golden orb. This is everything that gets transformed from this Cancer emotional experience. What we've been going through transforms into something good, something that is promising, something that is influential. And this all comes from this element of the sun. Okay, so I'm going to speed through this a little bit quicker because I'd like to get done with this in way under an hour. So the moon is something that we need to spend more time with, more connection. Sit down. We have a full moon coming up as of tomorrow, but by the time this video gets placed, we would have already been through it. But the full moon's going to be in Cancer, or I'm sorry, in Capricorn. Okay, full moon, the sign that it's in will always be the opposing sign of that sun sign. Okay, so remember, Cancer, opposing sign is Capricorn. So the full moon will always be in the sign of the opposing sign of the sun sign, because it's a reflection, right? It's a reflection of itself. So we're going to have Capricornic energy. Okay, but I don't want to move so much into the realm of Capricorn. But Capricorn is traditional. It is of work, doing hard work. It is of maintaining boundaries and working within limitations of ourselves. Okay, but that's when the full moon is in Capricorn. We start seeing those elements exposed a bit more. Okay, we may push ourselves to get things done when the moon is in Capricorn or in an earth sign. Okay, our Two of Cups, as I have mentioned. Now, let me talk really quickly about the decans here because the dates are different sidereally. Okay, remember I said July 14th to August 14th. Now, they're not going to be always in the middle. The signs aren't going to be like from August 14th to September 14th. We're going to be in Virgo. Virgo actually spans in sidereal astrology 2 months. So, but, you know, again, I'll explain that a little bit later. So, again, we break up the decans, and I think it's easier to do it like this, just in 10-day increments. So we have July 14th, or I'm sorry, it was July 15th. Okay, July 15th, add 10 days to that, to the 25th. This would be our first decan. So from July 15th to the 25th or 23rd, you know, give or take. This will represent our first decan, sidereal Cancer in this. Okay, this is my take on it. Okay, and then from the 26th, 25th, or 26th of July, add 10 days to that. So we are probably looking at August 5th or 6th. This would represent Cancer too. Okay, and then from the 16th, or I'm sorry, from August 5th or 6th, add 10 days, because remember, I think it's August 14th is the end date of Cancer, and then we go into Leo, actually on August 16th, sidereally. So that's, I was trying to figure this out a few months ago, so how can I do a sidereal version of the decans instead of Western, the Western dates that we have. And so I just simplify it. Still do the 10 days, give or take 1 or 2 days, and that will represent our first, second, and third decans of each of the signs. Okay, but go online, and that's what I'm saying, give or take 1 or 2 days, because you're going to see some different dates. Make sure, though, with all due respect to Vedic astrology, I find if you stick to the dates that are midpoint, okay, and like its name, midpoint, pretty much the start of that sun sign is going to be from the middle of that month into the next month. Okay, so like August 14th to September 14th, 15th will be Leo, and then from the 15th, this is just hypothetical, not hypothetical, but this is just off the top of my head, then September 15th or 16th, and because Virgo is a larger constellation, that will go into 2 months. So kind of work with those dates, and we'll cross over into Virgo and figure out the decans for that, because it is a longer time frame that Virgo rules. So I'm sorry, I'm at 4 of Cups here because I had the Queen of Cups here. So our 2 of Cups, we have Mercury in Cancer. 3 of Cups, we have Venus in Cancer. Okay, or I'm sorry, this is Mercury, and then, no, this is Venus and then Mercury. Hello. So here, Venus in Cancer. This is a beautiful placement because we're seeing the amalgamation, the joining, not so much the merging, I should say, but the joining of these 2 opposing energies. Remember what I was discussing here with the hippocampus? So we have the charioteer who's guiding this energy to where it needs to be, opposing energies. And once that journey has been explored, we start seeing You start seeing a lightness. You start seeing joy, happiness. That cup that's here is now being filled. It's being filled. It's being nurtured. It's being filled with love. We have the bees here for fertility. We're seeing growth here. We have the full moon. We have the new moon. We're seeing a balance of both of these energies. We have skyline here. We have the water line here. Looks like the sun is setting or rising here. And then we have underneath the water. Remember here, we don't see their tails, but here we do. Okay, we're seeing harmony coming from this. And Venus is a planet that does deal with money, but primarily it's dealing with comfort, things that are of good for ourselves. Okay, it's our own personal investment with Venus. Now with Mercury and Cancer, and I apologize for getting these two planets mixed up. Mercury and Cancer, which we were just in sidereally a few days ago, we're now Mercury in Leo. This is how we communicate. Remember I was saying about Mercury? It's how we exchange our thoughts. How do we communicate to people? Now Cancer, okay, this is coming from an emotional place. It's coming from the heart. It's coming from feelings. And I like here how we have the different phases of the moon. Waxing, waning, full moon. The cup is still pouring, but also there's also the cycle, right? Water replenishes, water cycles out old, brings in new, and it keeps going around and around. We have the harvest here, and depending on how you're seeing this, this could be the gain, this could be the waxing moon, this could be our waning moon. And we have the different spirals of energy, at the light and the dark. We're communicating how we feel. This is our second decan of Cancer with the Three of Cups. There's abundance. The first three cards, the first three decans in Cancers are very uplifting. They're very nurturing. They're very caring at different levels. This here is of emotional abundance. We're seeing how we are growing, how we are changing, what we have gained, what we are letting go, what have we completed, and where do we go with the next cycle, okay? We have the black Orphic egg here in the background, okay? We're still creating, but we're creating at a deeper level. But this process of creating, this process of emotionally moving through things is what's creating this sense of fulfillment, of abundance. And also the Mercury in Cancer is a way that we are expressing ourselves emotionally, okay? A lot of shifts are happening. We're feeling things quicker, moving quicker around this time. Mercury in Cancer, which we just had, was pretty interesting, and it was around the time that I had started back into swimming, you know, and so I'm feeling things out as I'm in this large body of water, and I'm communicating with it, and I'm feeling what I need to change, what I need to shift, what I need to do to create this sense of understanding, you know, and gain from this. So this is where we have our Three of Cups comes in. We have the Lotus here for openness, for self-fulfillment, but again, it's going through all these different phases. Cups with the water running out, and replenishing, letting go, and making space for more to come in. Okay. Let me go right to the Four of Cups. I'll explain this Queen of Cups in a moment. I want to see how I am with time. Okay. So our Four of Cups. Okay. So this will be the latter part. This will be Cancer 3. So this will be the last 10 days of Cancer. And it's ruled by the moon. Okay. I want you also to take a look at this. Okay. We have the opposing energy here, waxing, waning, light, dark energy, full moon, new moon, very similar to what we see here in our Three of Cups. Okay. But we have a pearl. Okay. We started off with a little something, and the experience that we've had, the shifts that we went through, this personal journey. Okay, I want to show this, is that there's a sense of trust for me in this card. I don't see so much luxury, but I think the luxury with this moon and Cancer is that things have become more at ease. Okay. We've gone through the cycles, and we're understanding. Remember I was saying about connecting with that body of water, connecting with a particular emotion or something that is of an emotional nature, or the environment that we're in is emotional. We're connecting with it, and we're understanding it. We're feeling it, and we're learning from it. And that knowledge and that experience that we gain produces this. It produces something that is whole. Okay, this is what I was saying here. This lotus becomes the pearl. Okay, it's something very simple. Okay, pearls start with a little grain of sand, and it gets rubbed together, and over time, that oyster, the oils, what it secretes, starts shaping and forming this pearl. But it's something that goes through an experience. It goes through these different stages, which we have here. Okay. And another thing I take from this is that's the beauty of this. Not beauty in relation to Venus. This is love. But this is the beauty of the energy that the moon can provide for us. Connecting and understanding these different forces and what it can produce. We have potential. We start seeing signs, and then we have the result of this Four of Cups. Okay, so I'm going to put this back here. Now the Queen of Cups can be associated with Cancer or Scorpio, depending on what system that you want to follow. Normally I associate the Queen of Cups with Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio is the sign. It's a water sign. It's a fixed sign. And as intense as Scorpio can come across, I like this card to sort of represent, sticking in line with Scorpio, that this is their emotions, their feelings, it's actually coming from a good place. Okay? We have the reflection that we see here. Here are our lotuses. Here are the bees. Okay, remember the bees that we had here. Okay? This is the fertility. This is the energy of the work and the joining of opposing emotional energies. Not opposing mental energies. This is all emotional energies. Now we're taking this and we're putting it in a deeper level. Okay. We're feeling the experience of these two cards. This is where the Queen of Cups, water of water. Queen represents feminine energy. Feminine energy is water. And the cups, of course, represents water. And what I want to do is, I'm going to flip this around. Okay. Another take of this is actually the bees, fertility, doing the hard work, with the lotus, doing the journey work, and it reveals aspects of ourselves. The lotus is representatory of our different layers within ourselves. And trusting, letting go, but also doing this work to reveal this aspect of who we are. And once we understand that, look at this, we have the transformation. We have the phoenix. Now this Queen of Cups, if you take a look at the 8, 9, 10 of Swords and the episode of Gemini and Mercury, this card represents the inner aspect of that 10 of Swords. The background is quite similar, but in the 10 of Swords, it's looking more oppressive. It's like the clouds are gray. We do see a sunrise or maybe a sunset. Could be the ending of something or the beginning of the next phase. And that's where the 10s are. The 10s are endings, but it can also represent the ending of something bad or of a lesson, of an experience, and now we're going into the next phase, the new day. Okay. And I'm going to move this closer because there is something coming out of this cup. And I'm moving it closer. It could be a crab. I do not know. I cannot be certain if Meleen makes mention to what's coming out of that cup. But it looks like a claw. And so I'm kind of relating it to the Cancer aspect. It could be maybe the scorpion tail related to this. But I like here with this Queen of Cups how it's just leaning inward. It's peering over. It's a curiosity, but also a form of like acceptance at the same time, like knowing this is where you have to be. All right, so to wrap up here very quickly, our 4 of Cups, I already talked about this. Now, Meleen makes mention that with our 4 of Cups, that there's a shadow card that comes with the signs in her deck. Like Cancer, we have a shadow card that will represent here our Prince of Wands. Now this is moving, this is air of fire. So we're coming from a place of where this energy is moving into, from water into fire. So remember, this represents the last part of Cancer, our last 10 days. And so we're starting to feel this transition of our 4 of Cups and moving this energy, it's cuspy energy, into the Prince of Wands. We're seeing this movement of fire. This is very Leo energy, which you could see here. Okay, now look at our charioteer, too. Okay, there's some similarities here. Where now we're going from our instincts, everything internal, we're starting to reveal this energy. But now, instead of like riding the wave, we're taking full control. We're taking this energy where it needs to be placed more in the external realm. Okay, we felt everything through the Chariot. Now our Prince of Wands, Leo energy, we're taking full control. We've done the work, we've shape-shifted, and this is all external energy. So this is work of where we're coming from our internal self, how we've remedied through different emotional situations, what we've learned from it, what we've gained. Remember, Leo, fire. Leo's also fixed, as well as Scorpio. But this Leo energy here is all conscious. This is all fire. This is all movement. This is all things that we are doing in real time in the external realm, in the conscious realm. Okay. So it's quite an extreme. It's almost like it's an alchemical shift of water energy forming into fire. All this energy that's been worked inside is now coming out externally. And it's coming out in full force. It's also creative energy. Things that may have opened up during this journey of Cancer. Revealing. And where are we taking it? Okay, so we're now in this internal realm for, until August 14th, 15th, and then when we get to this time sidereally in Leo, then everything comes out. It's almost similar to our spring equinox of Aries, right? The sign before it is Pisces. So we're going from a water sign, the end of the astrological wheel, and we're transforming this into from internal to external, from Pisces to Aries, taking charge. Okay. So when you look at your Emperor card, or the cards and the court cards that represent Leo and Pisces energy, Pisces in line with Aries, Emperor, we'll see this interesting dynamic from inside to outside. Okay, and Leo for Western astrology is getting towards the end of the summer. It represents Lammas, August 1st. What are we harvesting? What has been harvested? What have we taken in? What have we gained during the last few months, few weeks? Okay, and how can we share this with other people, or with everyone? It's knowledge, it's experience that we give back. So this is the journey here. Okay, our moon energy. This is where we are. Things are really deep. We may be more on the quieter side during this time of the sun sign in Cancer. But watch our moon phases. Okay, we're moon in Capricorn, full moon in Capricorn, opposing sign of Cancer. Okay, look at these influences. And again here with the decans, okay, if you can stick to the midpoint date system, which pretty much will follow the middle of each month, give or take a few days for Cancer. You could do your decans like that, but put them in 10-day increments. Okay, so like from July 15th or July 14th, add 10 days to that. And then that would be the 24th, 25th. And then 10 days from that, we do August 5th or 6th. 10 days from that, probably the 15th, because then on the 16th we move into Leo. Work with those decans for Cancer. It's a complete game changer when it comes to going in line sidereally with the sun placement and where these cards fall in, because it changes how we normally would see Cancer and Leo with Western astrology. And pay attention to the court cards. Okay, the Prince of Wands, representing this cusp energy of the end of Cancer, moon in Cancer, and where we're going into this fiery energy of external revealing instead of from internal revealing to external revealing. Okay. Alrighty, that's it. I still did it under an hour. Any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. There's a lot of information here, and so if something is scratching your head and like I don't quite understand what's going on, reach out to me. Ask me anything that you'd like to know. I'd like to do some courses revolving around this, the decans, and how the decans can be read in many different ways, for astrology purposes and also for tarot purposes. and how it can open things up. And also, again, start working with the decans when it comes to the court cards. Okay, and that's also adding more into the meanings of each of the signs and their planetary influences. All right, so for Cancer, it's Venus in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, and then here are Four of Cups, 20 to 30, Moon in Cancer, to wrap up the month of Sidereal Cancer, those last 10 days in August, in the early part of August. So like from the 5th to August 15th. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you so much. I appreciate your patience. Any questions, again, let me know, and I am happy to be here for you. So this wraps up for our month of Cancer. I will do another one of these when we hit Leo. So look back for the middle of August for the next episode, and you know what sign Leo rules? It is the Sun. So we're going to talk about that energy of the Sun as a luminary influence for Leo, its fiery attributes, and we're going to go through the decans of Leo and the court cards that influence that with the planetary assignments for each of those cards. All right, have a wonderful week, and I will be back between now and in the month of Leo. I have some other episodes that I want to share with you, but this experience that I had with Cancer and swimming and the hippocampi, the memory and the navigation of the hippocampi on one side of our brain and the other hippocampi on the other is quite interesting when it comes to memory and navigation through our feelings and experiences. Okay, I will leave you on that note. Thank you again.